Welcome, everyone, to the Miami Sports Vibes YouTube channel. Preseason is finally over, ladies and gentlemen. The Dolphins wrapped up their preseason game, preseason in all, against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Little trip there, which is good. Not going to take too much of a toll on the guys. And then you obviously have the week off next week leading up into the regular season. Listen, this preseason finale was kind of to be expected when you saw that the Tampa Bay Bucks were rolling out their ones, their twos, and their threes playing in this game. And Miami pretty much punted with their ones. They went out there with a couple twos and more so the threes playing in there. Started off with Mike White, man. And Mike White is a guy that I've been talking about on a lot of my videos that I'm just completely out on. And if there was any time to kind of, switch how I felt, tonight was the night against the Tampa Bay Bucks, and the dude looked absolutely terrible. I threw out a tweet and I said the Miami Dolphins need to just cut this man at halftime. Don't even let this man even come out and even watch the second half of this game. That is how bad Mike White looked out there. He finished 5 for 9 with 37 yards, got sacked, fumbled. I mean, he looked like a deer in headlights out there. It was ridiculous. Like I'm at a point where I started thinking to myself, like, you know what's so bad? Like, this is the Mike White that kind of beat out Zach Wilson. Like, the Jets players wanted him to play over Zach Wilson. And I kid you not, I was actually saying to myself, I think Zach Wilson is better. And that's something to say because, I mean, those of you guys have seen Zach Wilson. I mean, my God, that is a guy who's struggling. But I think Mike White is even worse, man. Yeah, Mike White had his little hoorah, a couple games that he won with the Jets. But, man, this dude I hope he doesn't make the 53. I don't think so. I think we're going to roll with just Tua and Skylar. If we need a third, we'll pick one up. But, man, Mike White looked absolutely terrible. And I think all Dolphin fans are in agreement with that. But thankfully, we didn't get to see too much of Mike White because I think Mike McDaniel just absolutely knew what he was getting himself into. Threw out Skylar in there, and Skylar Thompson. I mean, talk about saving the day from, Dolphin fans that traveled. Maybe it would have been a miserable night to having something to be excited about. Skylar Thompson came into the mix. He was absolutely completing a lot of his passes, feeding Jaylen Wright, who has absolutely been on a tear this preseason, who I'm super excited about. And I know Dolphin fans are too. Jaylen Wright finishing with, over 5 yards per carry, running the ball well. There was one that was called back. I mean, if you guys haven't seen that, where he kind of bounced off and then just took off from there. So Jaylen Wright, ladies and gentlemen, I think he's going to be the real deal. Not only is he running, but he's also doing those things that Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane do, which is also catching. He caught it out of the backfield for over 40 yards tonight. That's something to be excited about. Malik Washington, that's another guy that I got to give flowers to. I mean, talk about doing it all, man. A 40-yard run. Also, a couple key big returns there. I mean, the dude is electric. That's going to be a guy that I don't know if we're going to see a lot of in the regular season, but definitely a guy to keep an eye on, moving forward with the Miami Dolphins as, he grows into his own, just like Jaylen Wright. Couple young guys out there, got some good reps. Also, our draft pick, Patrick Paul, how about him? I mean, playing the entire game out there in the offensive line. Listen, any rep is a good rep, especially in the preseason. You got guys that are fighting for their lives, fighting to make a living, fighting to make a team, fighting to make a roster. So the fact that you got Patrick Paul playing out there, for the whole game, to me, it's good reps. There was nothing that was alarming to me. That's like, he's not no Liam Eichenberg where he ends up on the floor 4 damn times in a single quarter. I mean, you don't see none of that with Patrick Paul. So I like it. I like it. Also, another guy, Channing Tindall. That's another guy that we spent a pretty high draft pick on a couple years ago. A guy that hasn't panned out in the NFL, but he got some solid reps in. Multiple double-digit tackles. He got a QB hit in there. Absolutely love to see that. But honestly, flowers for the game goes to Jaylen Wright, Malik Washington, and Skylar Thompson. Without those three, the Dolphins were in for a beatdown. Baker Mayfield started this game. He was delivering. I mean, that guy, their first unit scored in about, I think it took like 2 minutes for them to get down the field. I mean, Baker delivered. He didn't have Mike Evans, or I think Godwin did play. He definitely didn't have Mike Evans. I don't think he had Godwin either. But he did have Ricardo White out there. He looked good. He's a guy that's been on a lot of fantasy football's radars. fantasy football fans out there that have White. Pretty solid drive. And the Tampa Bay Bucks, you know, they seem like they're ready to go, man. I think the Tampa Bay Bucks are a team that I honestly keep a close eye on. I'm a big Mike Evans fan. They obviously did their thing last year, making it to the playoffs, making some noise with Baker. I think they're going to be a solid team. I think they're going to surprise people yet again, because I still think people are sleeping on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So hats off to them. But the main thing is about the Dolphins, man. I give credit to Skylar Thompson, Jaylen Wright, Malik Washington. Those are my three guys that I give flowers to. And like I said, Mike White, I think his time is done in Miami. I don't see how they can bring this guy in. I don't see how he can even be thought of as a second string. I'm going with Skylar all the way. He knows the system. He's comfortable with Mike McDaniel, and he clearly delivered out there with, an even worse lineup than Mike White started out there with. So hats off to Skylar Thompson, even though he threw a pick. Don't get me wrong, but that's kind of what you're getting with Skylar. He's going to deliver. He's going to make a mistake, but at the end of the day, he knows the system. Mike McDaniel trusts him. So if things happen bad with Tua, I think Skylar is a solid option. I think there's better options out there. Don't get me wrong. But if I had to choose between keeping these three or going with only two, my second choice is Skylar Thompson. But let's see how it goes. I'm going to be predicting the 53-man roster on a later video coming up early next week. We'll see how things shake out with the Dolphins and their 53. Are they going to keep 6 receivers? Are they going to go 5? What are they going to do? A lot of question marks leading into the regular season, but preseason's over. Time to put it behind you. This is where the fun starts. This is where the real things start. And this is where things are just going to get exciting and take off from here. Guys, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button to support the channel. And also, let me know your thoughts. Who do you give flowers to? And are you out on Mike White like me? You got to be, right? I mean, that was a terrible performance. But like I said, shout out to Skylar for making the preseason finale interesting. That's all you can ask for. And shout out to Jaylen Wright. He is going to be special, I tell you. Catch you guys next time.